175,855 miles on the speedometer. We're dealing with 74 degrees Fahrenheit. It is, let me pull the plug on it, May 1st, 2023. And we are headed, that's why I was going to plug this back in and show you. We're headed to Willow Bend Mall. It's in Plano. I don't know if I've been there before. I'll know when I arrive at the mall because I'm really good at structures and remembering structures. And just, I don't know. I guess this is kind of a surprise vlog. But right there is the Omni of Fort Worth. I was going to shoot a short film there. It was going to be a sequel to the Once in a Lifetime series. And it has an angel in it and a man of the church. He goes there, and the angel is there when he wakes up in the middle of the night, and she's wearing these wings, and she's on the balcony. There's balconies right there. That's why I wanted to use it. There's balconies in the short film. And there's like a deck of cards. He checks in, and he's basically like kind of lost. And he has this deck of cards with him that he sets beside him rather than the Bible. It's a very strange little moment. Then he wakes up, and there's an angel on the balcony. And he goes out to talk to the angel, and she's kind of speaking in tongues. I have to go back and look at my notes because someone ends up falling off the balcony. I don't remember if it's him or the angel. Probably, I think the angel flies off or something. I don't remember exactly. And I'm still, to this moment, trying to recall the title of it. I know the first short stories was from, or the first short film, I guess we call it a film, was From Now Until Morning. That was the first one. Robert Boskes helped me with that one, and so did Corbin Thorpe. The second one was The Way of Man, and Robert Boskes helped me with that one. He was the other actor. He played Pastor Rec. I played Ash Cole, which was my alias. He was Pastor Rec in the first one too. The third one he wasn't in, and that was called That Side. Corbin, we had some problems with the main actor getting there. It was going to be a guy named Lavelle. And Lavelle couldn't, I think his name was Eric Lavelle. He couldn't make it. Don't remember exactly why. Some kind of traffic issue. And Corbin Thorpe stepped in. He was my sound guy and my camera guy. And he also was in the first one. He was in From Now Until Morning and Once in a Lifetime, which is a feature. Corbin was. He was a Dallas Arts Institute artist or filmmaker. He taught me about DaVinci Resolve. This is a kid. He's probably about, at the time, maybe turning 18 or 19. A young kid. And I was doing Lyft, and I picked him up. He looked like a film guy. I said, "You look like a film student." And he goes, I am at the Dallas Art Institute. I said, "And you're going where?" And he was going bowling. And I said, "Okay," at a place called Shenanigans. And I told Corbin, I said, "Listen, I'm trying to learn about it." He said, "Well, what do you want to know?" And I said, "Well, I'm trying to learn about editing, because I can do all the, the filming all I want, but what about editing?" He said, "Well, check out DaVinci Resolve." So I got DaVinci Resolve. I went home and got DaVinci Resolve and started looking at it. I said, "Wait a minute, I can make a movie on this," which was on my laptop. And that's how Corbin and I, kind of got started. It was a very simple thing. And then eventually he became one of the actors because no one showed up. Corbin had the boom mic. Danny was there, Danny Whitworth. He was handling the camera. And Danny was like, "Well, I'll take over the camera." And Corbin was like, "Well, what are we going to do about sound?" I said, "Well, I'll handle sound." So I put the mic on me. Basically, I held the mic. And I said, "What you're going to do is you're going to shout across the tracks, and you'll just give the lines off the phone. Just look at your phone. because he was playing like a pastor anyway. He's playing a character called Pastor Rec. So we changed it where Pastor Rec kind of like transforms, and we do this otherworldly thing. Or I'm sorry, otherworldly. We changed the idea behind the thing. That's where it leads in to the fourth one, and it's called Go. I just recalled it, just right at the right moment. Heaven sent. Yeah, the fourth one is called Go. And it was weird. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm not lying, okay? Today, when I woke up, I heard a voice in my head. It was a very, very small voice, and it said, "Go, go." And I thought, well, maybe I should change Go to Go, go. It's a weird thing. You know, dialogue, sometimes I hear dialogue, and that's the Trinity River. Because Tennessee Williams talked about it. Tennessee Williams would be visited by his characters in a dream at night. And this was like a voice I heard like more like in a dream. It was like I was halfway awake, halfway sleeping. And I heard this small voice say, "Go, go." And it almost made me laugh. So I think I'm going to change Go's title to Go, go. Because I had that like dream kind of thing that I heard like a small voice say, "Go, go." And this happens to artists. David Lynch was painting. He was painting way before he started the alphabet, way before he started Grandmother, and before he got into AFI and Eraserhead. This was way, way before, when he decided that his painting should move. And David Lynch was painting, and he looked back at the painting, and he thought in his mind that it should move, that the painting should move, because he was a painter in Philadelphia. And then he heard a wind. Yeah. It's about 7 minutes and 20 seconds. To the mall. The most interesting movies, and one Best Picture, was Schindler's List. It's a Steven Spielberg movie. And there's a monologue given out by a head officer, a head Nazi officer in the movie. He talks about how the Jewish people have been thriving for more than 4,000 years. And that the goal of the Nazis, in a way, this is paraphrased, was to erase their history by killing them completely, by burning them in the ovens and turning them into ash to make them nothing. And in doing that, they would also be doing it to Christianity. Because Christianity comes from the Jewish religion. Because Jesus Christ was Jewish. It's a messianic thing. That's what they call it, messianic. That of the Messiah. But he was the Jewish Messiah. He was a Jewish king. The king of the Jews. We see him as Christians as the King of Kings. He is God. And Hitler was not able to erase God. He was not able to destroy his history. So when you're dealing with Christianity, you're also dealing with Jewish history. We are a sect from the Jewish people. We were not there before them. It wasn't until Jesus came to earth, became a man, and then died on the cross and was risen on the third day, and then came and talked to his people, and then ascended into heaven after telling them that your job is to heal and to baptize. That's it. He also wants you to love thy neighbor, and there's a lot of other things too. Follow the rules of Abraham, as best you can, but with compassion. And we're not to condemn. We're to be good people and to follow his ways. I don't think the officer knew anything about Christianity that was given that speech. He was just interested in power and trying to take over everything. That's pretty much it. And you know, Schindler's List is Spielberg's masterpiece. It's the one that I don't own a copy of it, but it's the one that won Best Picture. I own Saving Private Ryan. I never bought it because it's not. I don't think it needs. It's something that needs to be purchased. We're already purchased. I can watch it another time. It'll arrive, and there's a beautiful beginning in color and a beautiful ending in color. But in between, it's history, and it's in black and white, and it's there, and it'll be there. Just like in Saving Private Ryan, when you go to Washington D.C., you go into this memorial site, and there it is playing. The first 30 minutes of it or so, if I'm not mistaken, it's constantly playing as a remembrance. If you're a Christian, you understand that relationship with the Jew, because we believe that there's the Jew and the Gentile, but we also believe that there's Jew and Gentile, one under the blood of Messiah. The one that is the Jew and the one that's the Gentile, and their blood is under the Messiah, meaning they're protected by the Messiah. Both are shielded. But it's for all nations. It's for all people. Anyone that wants to surrender to Christ, because it is an act of surrendering. It's an act of surrendering your life, so you surrender your life unto His command. Jesus Christ is the commander of all of this. He is the reason why we are guided and why we do things. Because we're out to heal and we're out to baptize. We're not out to build fences and condemn people and try to erase history. History does manipulate over time. It does manipulate. Because the history books try to get it right, and they find out this was different or whatever. But over time, it is manipulated over time. But we try to preserve it, and still we follow those commands of healing and baptism. I promise you, that's what we do. What is wrong with following a man? What is wrong with following a man that believes in forgiveness? And if you follow Christ, you're following a man because He was a man. He is God, but He's also a person. And you have a friendship with Him. He's a friend. What's wrong with following someone that believes in forgiveness? Have you ever messed up before? And when you messed up, did you face someone that did not believe in forgiveness? And what happened? What happened? It didn't feel good, right? You know, you mess up at work and they ask you to leave because there was no forgiveness there. It wasn't your place. You belong in a place of forgiveness. See, Christians today want to preserve Christianity so that you can live not only in forgiveness, but live in Christ. You don't have to worry about all the laws and regulations. That's why Paul came back to Israel. That's why Paul returned to talk to the Pharisees and Sadducees and the different tribes. And Paul said to them, forgiveness. Be forgiving and be kind. Read Corinthians. It was a letter written to you, a love letter written to you to invite you as invitation. I invite you to join a crusade in Jesus Christ, in healing and in baptism. What is wrong with following a God that wants to heal? What is wrong with following a God that wants to baptize you into His family so you can be His friend? Leave a comment. Alright, so I am near DFW Airport. If you've watched my early vlog, it's all one channel. You remember I did a lot of deliveries right over here off 121 and alongside the airport, even at the airport, for a couple of years almost. I worked for Grubhub for nearly 2 years and DoorDash for nearly 2 years. And then I started the whole rideshare adventure with Uber. and was with Uber for nearly 2 years. So I've been doing this for almost 5 years. It's hard to believe, because it felt like I started doing rideshare when I left the bank. I remember right before I left the bank, I applied for Uber, and they hired me. And I think that was 2018. So 19, 20, 21, 22. Oh my God. Yes, 5 years of doing rideshare. And you know, at times with Uber, I made more money than at the bank. I made $700 in one day at the Cowboy Stadium just doing Uber. And you know, I have not reapplied back to Uber. I don't know how their policy works. I've heard things like you got to wait 6 months. I've heard different, you know, like how long it takes. I'm thinking about maybe going back to rideshare, maybe. I don't know for sure. If that's the case, you will not be able to see the rideshare. I won't videotape rideshare. I know some drivers have in the past, and I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's right. Now, if they got permission from the rider, you know, then that's different. But I don't think that I would even do that. I think what I would do is I would probably just film, you know, that from the beginning, and then film the, you know, the end part, so I keep track of it for taxes, because they're only going to count the point where the pickup is and the drop off, and then from the next ride, you know, the ride that it calls you out on, then they begin with the taxes there, not when you drive around in between. So, you know, you would only want to film those things only, and then, you know, that's for your record, and then everything in between is fine, you know. And I started doing that with rideshare. I'd film everything in between rides. That could even be called, you know, that could be a movie, like In Between Rides or whatever. But I did that, and I did that in Dallas for about a year, and then throughout the Metroplex doing Uber Eats for about a year, you know. So it was like a 2-year thing, and then I got into DoorDash and Postmates. I had Postmates for like 2 years, DoorDash for a couple of years, Grubhub for a couple of years. I don't know, you know, it just depends on how the app is. But people have been like saying, oh, are you with GoPuff? And I'm learning about GoPuff, which is a distribution center. But why, I don't see why a restaurant would ask me about GoPuff. So I don't know if GoPuff is branching out, doing different restaurants and things like that as well. We'll find out. If you follow the vlog, the Please Subscribe show started in this area. I'm near Carrollton, in a place called the Mansions at Sunset Ridge. We're gonna hit some railroad tracks. And I talked a lot about this right here, which is a trash dump right on the other side of Carrollton. And you can see all the birds right over this way. And I talked about the vultures that would nest right in here. This is Louisville right here. Tons of shows were filmed right here on this road, headed back almost every night, either this road or the main highway over that way, after doing delivery for about 2 years. This is Hebron Parkway. Some people call it Hebron. Yeah, there's a snow vlog that I did a few years back, and I was headed over to the other side of town to pick up Linda, and when Linda was helping me start the show, and it was just, this whole road was just nothing but snow and ice. We got hit with the worst winter. It was in February. I want to say either 2020 or 2021. I have to go back and look at everything on the vlog. Probably 2021. But it was the worst. This bridge was horribly, I mean, it was just like I was skidding around. It was just amazing. It was a pretty intense day, and the power was cut off like half the day, and you'd get cold, and then the power would turn back on. You try to cook beans or something, and then the power would turn back off, you know, and you would have like, okay, no lights right now, and then it would turn back on. It was intermittent that way for like 2 or 3 days, going off and on every like 30 or 40 minutes, because this whole grid was under, this grid right here was under a lot of failure during the freeze. And that freeze happened in February. That's the Carrollton Tower. All right, we're at WillowBend. Linda and I actually did a vlog here at Spencer's shops at WillowBend. All right. I did not know they had a California pizza kitchen. Actually, I did know that because I picked up some orders here for, I believe, Uber and Uber Eats. And they got a Crate and Barrel too. This is WillowBend Mall. The shops at WillowBend. All right, directory. That's what we needed to find right here. Let's see. On the second floor. So where are we? We're right here. So I go to Macy's downstairs and head in that direction. Got it. Food court. It's funny, you can walk on here. You go like really, really quick, like you're flying. Isn't that cool? Yeah, but look at the green thing right there. Isn't that cool? Food court.